Jerry. Sorry to get your machine, but I only have a couple of minutes to spare before my bus leaves. A vacation was exactly what I needed after, well, a lot of the stuff I've been through. I got to meet up with some old college friends in Ireland while we studied some of the regional folklore on the wee folk. I'm back in London for a few days to relax and see the sights before I head out into the countryside to continue research on the fairy folklore for that paper I'm writing. My itinerary has me in Scotland by the 30th, so I'll be sure to call again when I get there with the new hotel phone number. It's so beautiful here, Jerry. But then again, I've always loved rainfall. Sitting in a tea shop with a piping hot cuppa while listening to the rain melts my heart. The only thing that would make it perfect would be if I had Samhain to snuggle with. Is he doing okay? Let me know when you can. Oops, I think there's a line behind me. I need to leave this phone booth before they start a riot. We'll call again on the 30th when I'm in Scotland. I need to remember to send Naomi a postcard for her collection. Should I pick a famous haunted site so she knows it's from me at first glance? The Tower of London would be pretty sweet. Anyway, talk to you soon. And give Salon an extra cuddle from me, even if he doesn't want it. Bye!
Dictation for paper on fairy lore. Working title, Wee Folk. Let's see. How do I want to begin this? Sprinkled throughout the islands of the United Kingdom and Ireland are the secret histories of the Wee Folk, from the wiliest leprechaun to the mischievous fairies hoping to...
Bah! Don't tell me you've been traipsing around here, hoping to find toadstools making crop circles and stories of stolen babies.
Excuse me?
I see it all the time at Badgecombe. Ever since those journalists wrote up about the old stone, we've been swarmed by people poking and prying, trying to look for leprechauns and fairy rings and balderdash like that. What do those people call it? The fairy stone? A main spot for the wee folk in Britain. Ha! Let me set you straight. Badgecombe isn't a landing spot for fairies and goblins and all that. You're headed in the wrong direction going that way. You want to know the truth about the old stone? You talk to me, Mark Hawkins. I'll set you straight.
Really? I admit, I came to Badgecombe because I saw the article on the old stone.
Of course you did. They all do. And they're ninnies, let me tell you. But you don't strike me as a ninny. Oh, there's something cat-like in your eyes. Clever, curious. You'd be willing to listen to the truth, wouldn't you? Not some fluffed-up fairy tale. You're not afraid of something little darker.
Color me intrigued. I'm Emma, by the way. I'm an investigator.
Well, Emma, let me get one thing clear from the beginning. Those reporters knew nothing about this place. And they couldn't tell the difference between a rock and their own heads. They just thought it was a big rock, like in Stonehenge, and dressed it up in Celtic myths and fairy lore and all sorts of flummery and pretense. Made it something pagan and mysterious and primal, but it's not. It's a meat of a stone. Placed there by my ancestors, in fact. The old stone isn't some table for a big pixie conference, or whatever they claimed it to be. It's a coffin stone.
A coffin stone?
Aye, a good solid piece of local stone, used to keep the dead from touching unconsecrated ground. Less chance to poison the farmland, if you get my drift. But it wasn't just any old coffin stone. It marked the end of the old corpse road.
The old corpse road?
What? Have you turned into a bird on me? Hush for a minute, let me finish. You see, back before the Black Plague ravaged us, there were roads all across the nation. Secret roads, hard to travel roads, that linked little country parishes to the few churches whose ground was consecrated for a Christian burial. Corpse roads, they're called. After someone died, they were carried in a coffin over rivers, through forests, and up rocky crags to these churches. People were powerfully afraid of ghosts. The roads wound through the countryside to confuse the spirits. Spirits can only travel in straight, unblocked lines, you know, and they can't cross moving water. So these trails were rugged and hard to spot, kept well away from fields and towns to keep them safe from the dead. The dead's feet had to be pointed away from home to keep them from rising and walking back. Coffin stones and lychgates were placed along the path to give the travellers safe places to rest their bodies, because the land would be cursed if the dead touched it. Most of these roads have long been lost and forgotten, dead as their travellers. When badge come, we remember the old corpse road. Connected us to big church in Ainsley. Quite a treacherous path, in fact. Goes past lots of outlying cottages and half-dead villages. Some nasty terrain. Our ancestors were bound, determined to keep the dead in Ainsley. No visiting relatives for us.
Sounds like an adventure. And the old stone marks the starting point?
What? Have you got cotton in years? Of course it is. A place to rest before the big trek into the countryside. There used to be dozens of those stones lined along the path for the pallbearers to rest. And Lord knows if any remain. But corpse roads were no hiking trails, Emma. They were secret and dangerous places. Gave birth to a lot of sinister legends, like the will-o'-the-wisps, can lead you into danger. The ghost lights that draw you to your doom. Some of the older villages still tie witch balls to trees along the road to snare demons and dark spirits, or they bury witch bottles in the ground for protection. And at night, I've seen some strange lights hovering over in the wood along the old corpse road, just before the road disappears over the hills and into the horizon. I wouldn't go near it. Rosie did once, and she's never forgotten it.
Rosie?
Hey, Rosie, come over here with a fresh pint and open mind, will you? Emma, meet Rosie Bedlow, the finest and prettiest waitress here at the Crown and Dagger. She's also the publican's daughter, so watch what you say. She won't hesitate to rat you out to the big man behind the bar.
If you behaved yourself once in a while, Mark, I wouldn't have to. Hello, Mum. Is there anything I could get for you?
I guess a story, if you can spare the time. Mark was telling me about the old corpse road.
Oh. Are you making friends again, Mark? I've told you to leave me out of your stories about the old corpse road.
Oh, the story's incomplete without your contribution, Rosie. And what's wrong with making friends?
Every time you do it, I end up being held center stage like some schoolchild doing a recitation. I'd rather forget about it. I'm sorry, Mum, but Mark has been making me tell this story over and over again to every tourist he gets to me with. So I'm feeling like I'm a trained animal.
It's no bother, really. I don't need to hear it.
Of course you do. It's no fun otherwise.
To be honest, Emma, I think Mark's only obsessed with this story because he's mad his family didn't get a shout out in the article about the old stone. Didn't get the credit for putting that big rock down there like he thought he deserved. Like he really needs another reason to swan about Banj Comp like he's the Lord Chancellor.
Hey, that's not true.
Still, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to check it out.
Oh, I don't know if you should do that, Mom.
How come?
Well, Mom, while I was at Mark trotting me around like a shoe dog, there's no wrong about the woods by the old stone. Something's there. I saw it with my own eyes.
What was it?
Well, I was walking home after work. It was at the end of the high street where it splits in two. That's where the old stone sits. I was about to turn left when I caught something faint and blue glimmering out the corner of my eye, like fire in a gas ring. I turned toward the light, but I saw nothing but the dark trees, badge woods off in the distance. It was a warm night, but I felt my arms go all goose fleshy, like someone walking on my grave. I was about to turn and walk away when I saw it. The gleam of pale blue light pulsing in the dark. It seemed to beat with its own heartbeat, blinking like an infernal lighthouse. Like the light was alive somehow. Like it wanted me to follow it. Like it had something to show me. Like I thought about wisps on corpse candles. My granny used to tell me not to follow those lights because they would lead me to my doom. Wisps would lead me astray and corpse candles meant death was near. She would always tie witch balls to the holy tree in front of the pub to ward off witches and evil spirits. So she wanted nothing to hurt me. I got the shivers badly and there I ran all the way home. Never look that way after dark anymore.
Fascinating story, Miss Bedlow. A little local color always helps when writing. Thank you for sharing.
You're not thinking of going out there after dark, are you, Mom?
Oh no, I'm on vacation. I've got more pressing matters on hand than wandering an Old Corpse Road. Like finding a great spot to curl up with a good book.
That's good, Mom. 'Cause I don't think any good will come from strangers poking around out there after dark.
Let's see. End of the high street where the road splits in two. Ah, here it is. Boy, that's a big boulder. This must be the old stone. It certainly would be big enough to hold a coffin, maybe even two. Centuries old by the look of it. Although it probably doesn't host anything livelier than lichen at the moment.
I thought you'd be here, Pinocchio. Funny, your nose is a lot smaller than I expected for that whopper of a lie you told Rosie this afternoon.
Oh, Mr. Hawkins, you startled me.
Probably for the best. I don't know what you're thinking of doing, Emma, but I'd turn back if I were you.
Why?
Because there's very old stuff at work here. Older than your nation. Older than much of this village has ever seen. More ancient than the stones that kept the dead from poisoning the earth. I told you, the old Cuffs Road ran over dangerous territory. Marshes, streams, woodlands. One wrong turn would send you to a marsh to drown. Especially if you follow whatever demon lights are out there.
So you believe the story Rosie told me?
Rosie is a good girl, Emma. She doesn't tell lies.
You're fond of her then?
Look, I'm just trying to keep a tourist from wandering around in the dark and getting hurt. From this point on, I wash my hands of the affair. You decide to follow some spooky ghost light to your death. That's on you. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Maybe I should. Wait. I see them. Lights pulsing in the woods, crowning that hill in the distance. Soft blue light. What did Rosie say? Like the light had a heartbeat. That it was alive somehow. Ugh. Suddenly reminded of the house at the crossroads just then. Maybe I should just leave this one alone. Then again, maybe it won't hurt just to check out what's in the woods. Just a quick peek. At least it's a warm night. Just like the night Rosie saw. No. Get it together. Evidence only. Drat, the light's gone. All I see are a bunch of old oak trees. Very old. Centuries old even. Thankfully, I got my flashlight, because the leaves totally cancel out the stars and moonlight above. Lonely place out here. The trees are thick and full of nests and owl burrows and gnarled roots. Not a wide forest, but a dense little copse of trees. I can see farmland through them that spreads to the horizon. I wonder if that is the old Corpse Road. Ansley is west from here, so that might be... Wait, what was that? I see another light? Yes, there it is, pulsing in the distance. A heartbeat of blue light by that old gate. Could it be a will-o'-the-wisp? Corpse candle? Bioluminescent fungi? I think I'll need to come back tomorrow night with the proper tools for a little road trip. Tape recorder running, check. Right, that completes my checklist. Got my tent, hiking boots, walking stick, flashlight, provisions, first aid, camera, everything I need to follow the old Corpse Road. Might make an even better article than fairies stealing infants. Nothing like first-hand account to spice things up. Completed a cursory examination of Badge Woods. All I found were a series of witch balls hung in the trees, and some very old witch bottles buried in the ground. The witch bottles were filled with a mass of threads, strung with charms, to draw in evil magic and energy and trap it forever. The witch balls were said to reflect the witch's face, distorted by the curved glass, and frighten her away. The locals told me their ancestors used these protections in the woods bordering town, to create a wall to banish evil spirits from returning along the Corpse Road, the last bastion of defense for the town as the Corpse Road vanished into the farmland and wilderness beyond. I have to say, this is some great stuff. The trees are full of these witch balls and bottles. The villagers must have been really determined to keep the dead in Ansley. Right, off to the field where I saw the light. The old map I found called it Kirkway Field. Kirk was an old word for church. as in the corpse road or churchway passing through it. Good signs. Nothing by the old gate to Kirkway Field. This field hasn't been farmed in forever. Just wildflowers and grass. Not even the signs of livestock. Probably more superstitions related to the corpse roads. Don't see any strange lights here. Just an old wooden fence filled with holes. Probably a few hidden rabbit hutches here and there. Still, I might find more evidence while crossing the field. Dictation for paper on English corpse roads and associated legends. Working title, The Old Corpse Road. Let me see. Crisscrossed across Great Britain are the ghosts of old roads. No maps exist of the fine spiderweb of trails that used to stretch from distant country towns to the few consecrated sites for Christian burial in medieval times. Along these secret, silent passages were ferried the recently deceased, their feet aimed away from home to deter the dead from... Rats! I almost busted my skull tripping over that rock. Mental note, don't dictate and hike in the dark at the same time. It might be a good place to set up camp. It's getting pretty late. I haven't seen any more lights. Hopefully this isn't a wild goose chase brought on by sleep deprivation and dehydration. Mental note, remember that tea is a diuretic. It's morning, and I have to record this. That stone I tripped over last night broke off from a larger boulder that had been flattened by old tools. I think it's another coffin stone. I must be on the right track. From the map of the area I got, which I compared with the medieval map I copied from the library, Annesley is northwest from this position. The wilderness gets pretty rough from here. Reportings will be sporadic. Time to hike while I have good light, and keep an eye out for any wisps I might find. Whew. I found these rocky crags just past this dense forest bordering the old unused farmland. Made me think of Sherwood Forest from the Robin Hood legends. The trees were huge and thick and dense. Ancient trees. Roots as thick as anacondas slithering all over the ground. I tripped once or twice, and in the dark shadows, I saw one of those faint wisps of living light pulsing in the shadows. But when I got closer, it evaporated. But I must be on the right track. I have to be. One of these rocky outcroppings was flattened by human hands. Another coffin stone. Wait. Did I just hear something? I saw them. More lights. The sunlight was fading in the west, so I could make out a faint trail of them, curl over the hills and trickle into this dense patch of woodlands. Like a stream of blue fire. Where are they headed? I have a feeling it has something to do with the thread of smoke I saw rising from the middle of the woods. Someone is living out here. Oh. I had to stop and rest. Making camp. Mental note, this is not sprinting terrain. I fell on my fanny at least 3 times trying to chase these wisps before they extinguish. But every time I get close, they go out, and I can't find anything but abandoned rat nests, burrows, burrows, knots, and long dead signs of human occupation. The trees in this forest are packed with witch balls. It's like an arcane Christmas in here, full of ancient magic. Some of these balls look extremely recent, too. Someone is keeping these old charms alive. Living folklore. The terrain is getting really wild out here. I can hear the babble of a stream nearby, and the bubbling of mud in a marsh. I'll have to watch my step. The roots of these old trees seem to rise out of the ground like claws, like they're trying to pry themselves out of the earth. Get it together, Emma. You're tired. Get some sleep. Wait, what was that? Is it getting closer? Something's out there. I keep hearing it moving through the woods, brushing up against the tent. Listen. Mental note. Bring pepper spray on Janis lonely camphouse and someone. What did Mark say? There's very old stuff at work here, more ancient than the stones that kept the dead from poisoning the earth. I'm not alone. The dead are trying to walk home. Not much sleep. The sounds quieted down around 2 in the morning, but I was too wired to go to sleep until I passed out at 4 a.m. Early this morning, I plotted the course of the wisps that I remember seeing going into this forest. It won't be easy to follow that path. It's a maze in here. Ansley is more north of this position, based on my calculations. I'll stay glued to my compass. I don't want to get lost out here. I can smell smoke, too. Fire could mean people. Fire could also mean trouble. Further dictation. Burial has long been both a secular necessity and a sacred rite. However, the mystery surrounding death birthed many superstitious practices as a means of protecting both the souls of the departed and the living. Whoops. Oh well. A little water and mud never hurt anyone. The trail I've plotted veers further west than I expected the path to Ansley to take. The corpse roads were supposed to confuse the spirits of the dead. They weren't straight, even paths. So maybe if I... Wait. The smoke is getting stronger, and the trees are full of balls and charms and totems. The woven dolls are particularly creepy. There's something next to that gnarled oak. Can it be? Oh my god, it's a house. I've set up camp near the house. This might qualify me for a Stalker of the Year award, but I wanted to see who lived here before I approached. There was absolutely no marker on the maps that anyone lived in this forest. I'd rather not launch into a situation without seeing how the land lays. It's an old house. Foundation sinking, so it's as crooked as a witch's hut in a fairy tale. The siding is scuffed, the roof is sagging, the windows rotting and bulging and dirty. No one appeared out of the house until after dark. I saw firelight flickering in the windows. Candles, lanterns, fireplace maybe. No sign of electricity. There's an old well near the house with a wet bucket. So that's where the owner gets their water. I could see shadows dart across the window panes every so often. But an hour ago, the door opened and I saw this woman silhouetted by firelight. Just a shadow with long hair bundled into a messy braid, a long-sleeved sweater, a long skirt, and an apron. She moved to the gnarled oak in front of the house. I could only catch a few strange mumbles she made. They were deep and oddly musical. A chant? No, something less organized than that. Prayer? I'm not sure. She was there for a few minutes, all alone. No one and nothing joined her. I did hear a few cats, though, so she can't be all that bad. Makes me miss Samhain. She's gone back into the house now. I assume for the rest of the night. What was she doing by that tree, I wonder? Oh my God. Oh, merciful heavens. Oh, that wasn't funny. It's 3 a.m. I heard those sounds in the woods again. I decided to grab my flashlight and find out what's out there. I left my tent, but I didn't find anything. What I did see was a wisp hovering by the gnarled oak tree in front of the woman's house. I ran over to get a closer look before it faded. Oh God. I couldn't believe it. It wasn't just fire or light. It was a glowing face, stretched and distorted, pulsing with an infernal light. Its swollen, glowing eyes staring at me. I jumped back and saw another face staring at me, yellowed and burning with fire, distorted in the window glass. I think it was the old woman in the house. I was suddenly reminded of that old nursery rhyme, The Crooked Man, but with a little twist. There was a crooked woman, and she went a crooked mile. She found a crooked sixpence beside a crooked stile. She had a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse. And they all lived together in a crooked little house. Agatha Christie wrote one of her most disturbing murder mysteries based on that rhyme. Somehow, that doesn't bode well right now. When I saw the distorted face in the window, I felt this powerful wave of malice hit me. Danger. I was in danger. I don't know if the woman actually spotted me.
Oh, I did, dearie.
I wasn't spying on you, I promise. I was just...
That's what they all say. They don't spy on mad Fenella Croft in the woods. Oh no. They keep an eye on her, snoop her out, see if she's been talking to the dead ones again. Well, wouldn't they like to know? They say they are concerned. Well, they should be. If they knew what I knew about them, they would be quaking in their boots. I know the faces of all who will die. I know, I tell you. I saw the butcher's face glow with the hellfire on the evening watch, and in 2 months' time we found him drowned in the marsh. They don't toy with Fenella Croft down here. Isn't that right, Snuggles? Fenella's enemies are everywhere, aren't they? I string up the witch balls in these woods to keep away other witches. They cloud the eye. Batchcombe and Wembley know better. They respect the truth I carry with me. They know that I know when they all will die.
Oh, how interesting. How do you know that?
It's almost the Mark's Inn watch, that's what. On St. Mark's Day, I go out to the old tree here on the old corpse road and watch for the wraiths. I hold this vigil from an hour before midnight to 1 in the morning. As a seer, I can divine the faces of those who will die in the blue corpse fires that burn in the heart of the ancient tree. I see their doom. Wembley knows to trust Miss Fenella. I know all their histories, their secrets. I watch them in the blue flames. On the Mark's Inn watch, I see when those histories end. Then they have to be nice, or I won't tell them when it's to be. They'll have to make their offerings, so to speak, to the old tree, to grant them peace, to extend their lives. If they are not nice, the end will be brutal. Mark my words, dearie. The end is brutal. Don't sit there!
I'm sorry,
That would be the spot for my baby. Baby won't like you sitting there. I always leave the chair for baby here by the fire to keep them warm from the long journey. It be 22 years now. They're very cold. I know they are alive because baby's face hasn't appeared in the corpse fire.
Well, I wouldn't want to overstay my welcome. I'm sure you have a lot to do to prepare for your vigil.
They'll be after us, dearie, keeping watch, wanting to know the secrets of Fenella Croft. Well, they won't get them. I'll be long in my grave before even the first hint of my secret comes out. I buried them deep. The woods are full of little hiding spots. Ugh. Bury your treasures deep, miss. Don't let them see what you're hiding. They're always out there sniffing around, snooping, interfering with the ancient magic of the old corpse road. There'll be mischief. Just you wait. Infernal mischief on the hell road. The wisps are strong. The fires burn. Night by night, I watch the little candles of death twinkle in the darkness. A dark path to follow. If you follow it, you are doomed. And I saw your face, lit with the hellfire, dearie. Blue as a corpse. You're going to die very soon. Give me something pretty, and I will tell you when you'll die.
No thanks. Not interested. Not in the market for a death prediction, thanks.
Then your day shall be slow and arduous. You will suffer greatly. It will strip you from everything you have ever loved. Your work, your friends, even your precious little kitty cat. You are all doomed now to suffer.
Made it to Annesley. Had a nice chat with the vicar of the local church. Got to see an authentic medieval lychgate that allowed me into the churchyard, another resting place for the coffins before burial. The vicar knew quite a bit about the history of the old corpse road, gave me some great facts for my article. Still, I can't help but feel that something dark and twisted is at work, and very much alive back there along the old corpse road. Something I'm only just aware of. Glimmer of light, nothing more. I didn't see any more wisps after leaving Fenella Croft's cottage in the woods. I find that peculiar. The vicar of Annesley seemed almost amused by my questions about Fenella. She's something of a local character in the county, a village witch and seer known by the neighboring towns and villages for generations. People used to pay her quite handsomely to have curses removed, divine their futures, and to receive blessings. But over the past 20-plus years, she's been less respected by the villagers, and less, well, stable. There was some incident, well before the vicar came here, where Fenella Croft screamed and howled that fairies had wrought terrible mischief on her. She blamed the village for trafficking with demons and wee folk, and started attacking the villagers. Led to an arrest and a brief stint in a psychiatric clinic. She's lived as a recluse ever since. The vicar says she's calmed down a little, soothed, I suppose, by her annual vigil on St. Mark's Day, by whatever messages she receives from the wraiths. But I keep feeling bothered by something. That face in the tree, the face in the window. Something was familiar about it. It drifts away like a ghost when I try to reach for it. I'm going to have to hike back along the old corpse road. I'll be breaking convention by going backwards. Like a spirit that won't stay buried in Annesley. The bus to Badgecombe would have been much more comfortable, but I'm missing something here. Maybe if I see those wisps again, I'll know what it is. I have a hunch. Renewed dictation for article on corpse roads. New working title, Over the River and Through the Woods. Folklore was abundant with tales of the devastation wrought on the earth by a corpse left to rest on unconsecrated ground, such as crops never surviving in that spot, or a demonic hunger grasp that instilled an unearthly appetite on those who... a wisp. I had a feeling I'd be seeing another one soon. It's leading back into the woods where Fenella lives, just as I suspected. This doesn't look familiar. Did I take a wrong turn back by that big oak tree? But again, there are all big oak trees in here. I don't remember this part of the woods. Maybe I should retrace my steps. Which way did I come again? The light is fading and it's getting chilly. I might have to make camp and continue this hike tomorrow. I keep seeing wisps and following them, but I swear none of this is familiar. Where are the charms and totems and witch balls? I seized dense vegetation. And these trees don't look familiar. I mean, after a while they all look the same, but even so. Ugh, and it stinks around here, like something dead. I don't smell the smoke from Fenella across the chimney, just dead, rotting ooze. Am I going the right way? If I orient myself with the sun and use my compass... Rats, the tree cover is blocking the sun. Even if I head south, I don't know if it's the orientation I need. Maybe if I check the map. Shoot, it got caught on a thorny bush and tore. Now what do I do? The ground is getting soft and muddy, and it's getting awfully chilly in here since the sun is almost totally blocked by trees. I should camp and make repairs too. Someone's following me. I can hear the rustlings of the undergrowth. I'm not alone in here. Something's chasing me. Oh God. Who are you? Show yourself. I'm not afraid of you. I think someone or something shot at me. I hate barreling through these woods. I am totally lost. It's dark. I need to rest. And find my way out of here before that thing catches me. There's a wisp not far from me, like a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm so tired, so sleepy. It's not fading this time. I can see it better. I can touch it. It's not the will of the wisp. It's a witch ball. Help! Someone help! I'm sinking in the marsh! I'm going to make you pay for this, Mark!
Grab the rope, dearie!
Well, I didn't expect to build a case out here, but it ended up being thrown in my lap, so I guess I have to close out some casements. My joints are killing me, even after that hour-long soak in the tub. But I could have been in a lot worse shape if Fenella hadn't seen Mark following me after I left her cottage and went to grab a few farmers in Wembley to pull me out of the marsh. Mark Hawkins. This whole nightmare was because of him. Start to finish. I was a complete patsy, all because he wanted to lay his hands on Fenella's hidden fortune. It was an open secret in the villages that Fenella Croft was secretly a wealthy woman. She had been paid handsomely in the past, often through jewelry and other forms of quick cash. But she never spent any of it. Her house was living testimony to the fact Fenella squirreled her money away somewhere only she knew. People tried to dig in the woods around her house for years to steal her fortune. That's why she said her enemies were everywhere. Mark had traipsed through those woods for years trying to find Fenella's money and never found it. So he attempted a much more ingenious method. He knew, like everyone else did, about Fenella's missing child, the baby she kept talking about. I didn't expect to find real evidence of a stolen baby, but I did. Fenella's child was kidnapped 22 years ago. But unlike the fairy legends of yore, the child wasn't swapped. The child simply vanished into thin air. And Mark realized something no one else did until I remembered the face in the window. Fenella's face distorted with rounder cheeks and smoother complexion. I had seen that face somewhere before, in a pub called the Crown and Dagger on the High Street in Badgecombe. Rosie Bedloe is Fenella Croft's missing daughter. A few questions and we got the truth. Mr. Bedloe kidnapped baby Rosie all those years ago because he couldn't stand the idea of the little girl growing up in that ramshackle cottage with so-called mad Fenella for a mother. His wife was infertile, and they desperately wanted a child of their own. So on an impulse, he stole the baby and raised her as their own daughter. Gave her every advantage they could, but it was a fiercely guarded secret for the whole family. Still, they were terrified someone would find out. Rosie's adopted grandmother used the witch balls to play on Fenella's superstitions and keep her away from the home. Well, that way Fenella would never know her daughter was there. But as Rosie got older, it was harder to hide her parentage. Mark noticed she didn't quite look like her family. And when he saw Fenella and heard the stories, the truth came to him. A bold plan took shape. If mother and daughter reunited, Rosie would be Fenella's heir to all that hidden money. Mark planted the will-o'-the-wisps to try and guide Rosie to her long-lost mother. In the hollows of trees and owl burrows and fence holes, he hung glass spheres, essentially witch balls, and rigged a small remote control light to shine on an image of a distorted face. The light would bounce off the image and reflect in the glass witch ball, creating a Pepper's ghost effect. The spirit pulsing with light. The lights would pulse until he switched them off. He placed one of his wisps in the ancient gnarled oak tree in front of Fenella's cottage. This was the corpse fire she kept seeing in the tree and around her property. Mark tried to lure Rosie to follow the lights, but Rosie didn't trust them and refused to take the bait. Frustrated, he turned to me when he heard about my research, thinking I would be able to follow the trail successfully and make the link between Rosie and Fenella. Mark told me the story, set me off on this trek on the old corpse road. But he had to follow me to control the lights. He was my stalker in the woods. He knew that terrain better than anyone. But after I found Fenella and made it all the way to Ansley, I began to have second thoughts. I wondered if this whole thing could be staged. I wanted to get back to the cottage and check out the setup in the oak tree. I would have discovered Mark's trick. And I think Mark, shrewd as he is, started to get nervous. Instead of being a patsy who would provide the link for him to marry Rosie and inherit all that money, I became a danger to his plans. So he swapped the positions of his lights and created a trail that led directly to the marsh for me to drown. What would the world say? A stranger in unknown territory, a paranormal investigator looking for fairy tales, getting lost in dangerous terrain and drowning in a marsh. No one here had any reason to hurt her, just another sad accident. He probably would have gotten away with it if it weren't for Fenella seeing him follow me and thinking I was in danger. Her quick thinking saved me. She used the rope and bucket from her well to pull me out of the mud, and we managed to trap Mark in the denser undergrowth so he won't be escaping justice. At first, I thought he shot at me, but it turned out to be a hunter in another part of the woods. The shot echoed through the trees. Fine time for that to happen, huh? Scared the daylights out of me. Rosie was right when she said Mark wanted to swan about his ancestral village like he owned it all. He wanted wealth, which gave him power. He cold-bloodedly decided to steal for it. And if things got hairy, he was willing to commit murder to protect himself. Who knows what might have happened next? He might have killed Fenella Croft to ensure Rosie got the money. And what about his new bride? Tragically killed somehow, leaving all her money to him. Murder is a vice that grows. If he planned to murder me, he wouldn't have stopped there to get what he wanted. The only thing I haven't figured out is how Fenella knew I had a cat back home. And could she really be... Wait. There's cat hair all over my clothes, courtesy of Sally, and I was missing him badly that night, so when I was in her cottage, I automatically started petting her cats. I couldn't help it. They were so cute. So she must have seen the cat hair and saw my familiarity with the animals and made a quick but accurate guess. Nice little trick. Probably why she was considered such a renowned and respected seer. That's a relief, because I don't want to dwell on that prediction she made. Case number 104 closed. Results? A vacation I won't forget in a hurry. Mental note: look into that Scottish castle and the stories about the monster in its loft. I might be able to find more evidence in the water, but I'm not taking my tape recorder now. I'll just set it over here and give it a quick look around the room. There's something funny about those rocks over there. What is it? Something...